The next generation of Ford F-150 is going to have 2,400 fewer parts. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that means for you if you're holding out for the next generation of the Ford F-150. What's up, guys? Mitchell Watts with Town & Country TV, and just the other day, some of the executives at Ford had a meeting with investors to talk about their very near future. Now, according to this article from thedrive.com, CEO Jim Farley told investors that his main focus was to improve the quality on all of the Ford products. They're also interested in streamlining their manufacturing process, so we're going to talk about that as well inside of this video. Now, you might be wondering why those things are so important, why Ford is so focused on this. And it's not just for the customer's experience, which it is, but the main reason is going to be profit. And at the end of the day, the cost of these recalls and warranty repairs are absolutely killing the Ford Motor Company. Now, in this article from Ford Authority, the CFO of Ford, John Lawler, was quoted as saying that we believe that our cost gap is to traditional OEMs about $7 billion to $8 billion spread. So if Ford can improve their quality, this will drastically increase their profit, and it will lead to much less expensive vehicles, in my opinion. Now, in addition to the quality, Ford is focused on streamlining the manufacturing of their vehicles. If Ford is able to build the next generation of F-150 with 2,400 fewer parts, that's going to be significant. I mean, think about it this way. 2,400 fewer parts per truck, multiplied that by how many trucks they sold last year, which was 654,000 trucks in 1 year. If you do that math, you're talking about 1.5 billion parts that they're able to save on the next gen truck. And if each part costs you, what, $2, you're talking about a $3 billion savings per year. And that is proof that people from Alabama can do math. I hope I did that right. What I want to point out is that $3 billion savings is just for the F-Series truck. That doesn't include all of the other vehicles that they sell. Now, Ford has already started making changes to the way that they manufacture the vehicles. The most recent example of this is in the Ford Escape. This vehicle actually just started showing up on our lots. We just did a video on how you should order your new Escape. And what I realized when making that video, it is so much easier to order this vehicle than it was in the past. Now you basically select your trim level, you've got your choice of color, and 1 or 2 packages. That's pretty much it. Gone are the days of the ordering 15 a la carte different options. And so Ford is really doing a good job of putting their most popular options into packages. And what that does is it reduces the number of orderable configuration. And one of the biggest benefits to this strategy is supply chain. They can actually plan much better in advance for what customers are going to be ordering when you package it all together. Now, shifting gears for a second, pun intended, Ford just went through a massive restructuring of their company. And they did it for cost savings, let's not lie about that. But the other reason is their hope is for better quality. And I'll explain to you here in just a second, but I need to make sure that you understand the 3 branches within Ford Motor Company after they've done this big restructuring: Ford Blue, Ford Pro, and Model E. Now, the Ford Blue is the traditional Ford Motor Company that everybody thinks of. You're talking about vehicles with internal combustion engines and the traditional dealer network. And as you probably know, we are a dealer as well, located out of Alabama. This is what everybody thinks of when you say Ford Motor Company. Now, the next is going to be Ford Pro. This is the segment that focuses on customers who use their vehicles for commercial purposes. Think fleet vehicles. So Town & Country Ford in Pell City, our other location, we're actually building a massive facility right now to service those commercial vehicles. Now, lastly, let's talk about that Model E. And the E stands for electrification, or at least that's what I think it stands for. But this segment is the segment that's going to house all of the electrified Ford vehicles, such as the F-150 Lightning, the Mustang Mach E, the E-Transit, and a whole lot of vehicles that are coming down the pipeline very, very soon. Now, by having dedicated and smaller teams, those 3 different branches of Ford Motor Company, the teams are able to focus on their area of expertise. And what ends up happening is you have a better product and a much more reliable product because they're focused not on everything, but focused on very specific things. Now, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, said to investors that they need to make their own decisions about whether or not they think that Ford Motor Company is undervalued. And I know you didn't ask for it, but I'm going to give you my opinion because I am an expert at that. I'm an expert at my own opinion. I am heavily invested in Ford Motor Company, and I do think that the company is undervalued. Now, maybe I'm a little bit of an optimistic person, but I see potential with Ford right now that I haven't seen in the past 23 years of being at this dealership. On the flip side of that, I may not be all that optimistic about the economy right now, but I'm confident that Ford will end up on top just like they did even back in 2008. You guys remember that everybody filed bankruptcy except for one, Ford Motor Company. I'm still so proud of that. But anyways, I'm confident Ford is going to end out on top, especially when you look at some of its direct competitors. For instance, I love that Ford is giving their customer options. All right, so here's your new F-150. And now, do you want it in a gas engine, the Ford Blue, or do you want it as a commercial vehicle, Ford Pro, or would you like it as an electrified version, the Model E? You know, so many of these manufacturers right now are committed to 100% electrified. Like I think General Motors came out and said that 100% of their vehicles are going to be electrified. You know, they're not going to sell any gas vehicles after a certain time frame. I actually believe that EVs are going to be a big part of our future because I drive one. I mean, I've got a Lightning and I've also got a Bronco, but I don't believe that EVs are going to be the only thing in our future. I believe that there are some customers that cannot or will not swap out of a gas vehicle and into an EV. I mean, think about it this way. What happens if you are towing a horse trailer all the way across Montana? An electric vehicle is probably not going to be for you. But getting back to the F-150 and how they're able to reduce the number of parts on this next generation truck, think about the suppliers involved. Think about the ability to reduce the number of parts on that truck and what that means for Ford. They can actually drop some of the inefficient suppliers. This will allow them to strike better and more efficient deals with the suppliers that they do end up keeping, and it's going to allow everybody to step their game up. And speaking of stepping your game up, Ford is going to be testing vehicles much more rigorously now. The president of Ford Blue, Kumar, said that they are going to be testing vehicles like the new Super Duty to the point of failure. And by doing that, they're going to be able to prolong the life of the vehicle. Now, that's good for the consumer, but the main reason is this is going to reduce the number of warranty repairs that Ford's going to have to do. Ultimately, this will save the company a ton of money. And despite the low stock price, Ford's CEO Jim Farley is optimistic about the company in the near future. And I have to say, I completely agree with him. Ford has come out with some amazing vehicles recently, Bronco, Lightning, just to name a few, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. In my opinion, this is the best time to be in the Ford business, which means that I am personally very proud to represent Ford Motor Company as an independent dealer. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this type of content, you need to let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.